Good morning. I am going to go through the problems on the Chapter A, Chapter 7, Form A handout. I'm starting with number 5. I'm only going to be doing the select ones today, and you could check out the video. And as you know, I always post the answers, but this is how to get those answers. So what we have here is we need to multiply or divide. For this problem, we are dividing, and we have 4. It's really a fraction divided by another fraction. So one thing you need to remember is that when dividing two fractions, A divided by B divided by C over D, you change this to multiplication. A over B times, these two switch, D over C. So keep that in mind. We're going to be doing that globally. So we actually have A polynomial, B polynomial, C polynomial, and D polynomial. It's a fraction. In order to reduce or multiply or divide, we need them to look like multiplication, which is called factoring. So we need to factor each one of these polynomials and put them in the right place. A over B times D over C. So let's factor A. Z squared minus 16 is a difference of two squares. We know that we factor it Z plus 4 minus 4. What happens here, it's really a trinomial in which the middle term drops out. For this one, it's a binomial, but we always have to look for our greatest common factor first. So we're going to pull out the Z. I'm going to write down what's left. We'll have a Z left plus 4. Don't get too excited. You see that those two cancel. We're talking about multiplication within a fraction. These two terms reduce to 1, but hold off on that. We have a little bit more work to do with C and D. Let's start with C. So I'm going to take it down to work on it. Z squared plus 2Z minus 24. I am looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to 2. I'm getting 4 and 6. 4 and 6. I know that they're different signs because they multiply to a negative. So that means their difference, or they have a distance of 2 between them. Now when I add these two numbers, I need to get a positive 2, which means that the 6 is positive and the 4 is negative. So we can, since Z equals 1, we know it must be in this form. I have nothing else that could go in front of the Z's, which means in order to multiply to negative 24, here's your minus 4Z. Here's your plus 6Z to get plus 2Z, and this last times last, the last multiplication, there's 4 of them in here, is negative 24. So this is the C position. It started up here, and now it ends up right here. So I'm going to put that in. Z minus 4 times Z plus 6. Let's move on to D. We've got Z squared plus Z minus 30. Two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to 1. Well, negative, that means one's positive, one's negative. The difference is 1. And I'm seeing 5 and 6. To add to positive 1, the 6 has to be positive, and the 5 is negative. Since Z equals a coefficient of Z squared equals 1, the only way I can get that is Z times Z. Negative 5 plus 6, this shortcut method, multiplies to negative 30. Negative 5Z plus 6Z equals plus 1Z. So I'm going to place that in position D. Z minus 5, Z plus 6. Okay, Now, when we multiply two fractions, we multiply across the top, we multiply across the bottom. I could write that down, or we can see that z plus 4 over z plus 4 reduces to 1. Z minus 4 over z minus 4 reduces to 1. Z plus 6 over z plus 6 reduces to 1. So now what do I have left on the top? I only have z minus 5. What do I have left on the bottom? Remember, these are just the locations. They're not part of the problem. All I have left is z. So your answer is z minus 5 over z. Now for number